And
what are we talking about, Mike?
I'm always going to say that. Don't fucking worry about that. Today's topic, we're going to talk about vaping.
oh, we're going to talk about how Alex is a douchebag.
Yeah, Alex got the douche whistle
Should
out.
I grab my douche whistle?
Let me guess, this is Alex's topic, isn't it?
No, this is mine.
Oh,
I brought this up because Alex got right back into vaping.
Yeah,
so why don't you tell
put that down for a while?
Why don't you tell us a little bit about what got you into this whole thing?
So, I mean, realistically, it was just that my sister actually had one, has one, is really hardened vaping. And we went for a drive one day, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm vaping." I'm like, "Oh." She's like, "Don't tell me, don't tell mom." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Don't. Sorry, I had a stroke.
Heavy.
So it is, yeah.
I was
So
just gonna say it's different than what you used to have, isn't it?
so she's vaping, and we're sitting there. So I grabbed it, and I'm like, "Well, this tastes pretty good." It was like melon or something. I can't remember what it was.
That's pretty good.
So
Do you always say that when you stick something in your mouth?
It tastes good. So she, I saw a guy that I know who was selling his vape. He had like just gotten it for real cheap. So I'm like, cool, I'll pick it up. So I picked it up
Selling his bro card.
and started vaping. No nicotine in it really. So I mean, it was still fine. And then I tried the stuff with nicotine in it just to see what it was all
you wanted
about.
to be one of the cool kids.
Sure, exactly. But then I found out after the fact that the nicotine, if you're vaping in your car, the nicotine likes to stick to everything.
It's also addictive. No shit. Changes
Yeah,
your mood. And
Which, I mean, I didn't really get addicted to it. I mean, I put it down for a while. Even this doesn't have nicotine in it, so it's not the
I can
nicotine.
put it down anytime I want until I buy a new one.
I'm blowing sick vape clouds,
See,
bro.
I'm convinced that the
Oh
only
my
reason
God.
why you like to vape is because you like the clouds, because you're all about magic, and you're like, I can't afford a fog machine, so I'm going to buy a vapor.
I am a fog
I'm
machine.
going to be a fog machine.
I'm a vapist. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It sounds so
Yeah,
bad.
That doesn't
like that.
sound pretentious
Vapist.
at all.
That's
Yeah.
I mean, like you see all these people.
Or a vapor. Yeah.
See now, people call out vapists for.
But then they sell it to underage kids, and it's statutory vape.
Yeah.
So I mean, you get all these people that are vaping, right? And there's people who vape don't talk about vaping all that much. People who see people vape talk about people vaping more than people
See,
vape.
the thing is, they don't need to talk about it because they don't fucking stop. Is the problem?
They just do it
when
constantly.
it's consistently in your face and consistently around you, and you're like, "Oh, but it smells good." It's like, yeah, but it smells like a thing.
When
that's
you
not,
look like Pigpen from the Peanuts because you're constantly in a
Covered in a cloud.
walking around everywhere. Yeah, you don't have to say anything.
And
So-
the thing is like, I get it when it started off that they were like, remember the e-cigarettes, right?
Yeah.
They looked like a cigarette, and they're like, look at this, help stop smoking aid. And then they turned into these pens, and I was like, okay, they don't look like cigarettes, so they're not going to appeal to whatever. That's good. And then they're like, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, people are walking around with like a fucking car battery strapped to them, and they're just like... And it's just like, how did this turn from like a medical help you
That's
quit
what I was just
type
going to
of thing?
say. That's what irritates me the most about vaping. Like you said,
There
first
was a
e-cigarette-
means to an end?
Yeah, it was supposed to help people quit smoking.
Yeah.
And now it's just become its own crutch.
Yeah, there was a means to an end, and people turned it into, you know what I mean? I don't know.
It's literally just now people do it because it's the cool thing to do.
Yeah. I mean,
Which
like,
is what started
there's-
smoking in the first place.
I'm sorry, there's no benefit when there's no nicotine in it, and if...
To be honest, it's more of a. I guess for me, it's to kind of help with the oral fixation.
Yeah.
Then stick a dick in your mouth.
But I don't like dick in my
Yeah,
mouth.
this is supposed to help him stop putting
Oh,
dicks.
is that what it's
yeah.
for? Yeah,
Yeah.
he's trying to get over his dick.
Help stop sucking
fascination.
dick aid.
but
But the thing is what really gets to me, what really bothers me, is when somebody is a non-smoker and then they pick it up and they're like, and they're like, and
How many
they-
packs a day did you used to smoke, Alex?
And
Well,
they get the no, they put the nicotine in it, and
Oh,
then they
yeah.
start doing that, and then all of a sudden they're addicted to vaping because there's nicotine in it, and the whole point is to start off with a higher nicotine level and then work your way down to wean yourself off of
Cigarettes.
cigarettes, right? And I get if a previous smoker is using a vaporizer that doesn't have nicotine in it because
It
they
helps
they
them
need to
mentally.
they need
Yeah.
to fill that whatever void, right? But for a non-smoker to walk in and say, I'm going to start vaping with nicotine, it's like,
They're just
why?
doing it in reverse.
Why?
So I mean, I was,
And then you're going to work your way up to
Yeah,
cigarettes?
they're working their way up to cigarettes.
at the
like-
time I was smoking cigars from time to time, right? Like probably a pack every month or so, like just of 8, cigars. But still, it was there, right?
Cigars, or are you talking like?
I'm talking like Colts,
He's
yeah.
talking like Prime
So it's fine.
Times or like
Yeah.
Captain
So I mean,
Black.
even then, so it wasn't as if I was.
I'm not going to make fun of that
addicted
because
even.
I used to smoke Colts once in a while too, but I don't consider that a cigar.
I did in high school. We used to get Prime Times and stuff. When we went to parties and we were drinking,
Yeah.
we'd always bring a pack of like Captain Blacks
Yeah.
or like Prime Times and stuff.
Yeah. Which I mean, so that's one thing. I wasn't addicted really by any means. It was just more of a, hey, I'm really fucking stressed right now. I'm gonna go for a walk around the block and, smoke the cigar. Smoke the cigar. I still
I
consider
know it's a terrible
it's a
reason,
cigarello,
but I used to smoke them because I had smoking friends.
Yeah.
When we'd go out to the bar, they'd want to go out and have a cigarette, and I didn't want to just go out and stand in the cold and do nothing, so
Sure.
I'd have a Colt.
Our buddy's dad used to bring us back Cuban cigars because they went to Cuba
yeah.
all the time.
I've had one.
And,
yeah.
and he'd come back and he'd give us these big giant cigars, and there'd be like 6 of us just like walking around, just like, oh, I want this cigar now.
See, and
So
a lot of
good.
people disagree with me, but an actual true cigar, I actually like to smoke it once in a while just because I like the taste. Like, there is a flavor.
There's a flavor to it. Yeah.
Well, that's the point because you're not supposed to be inhaling with
Exactly.
cigars. So
I mean, even if you do inhale, it's smooth as fuck. I've had them before. Cubans, like a proper Cuban.
Yeah.
what? I've seen like seasoned smokers inhale Cubans and throw up. There was a one of our buddies. He was a long time smoker, and he went down there and he got one wrapped for him.
Oh, that's bad.
And they started off with like a light tobacco and then worked their way down to their heaviest tobacco. So it was like a layered cigar. And he started and he sat down and started smoking it one time when we were drinking. And we were like 16, 17, and he makes it about halfway through, and he just stood up and vomited everywhere.
Really?
Yeah. Because
Can't say I've had that problem.
he just hit this point where the tobacco was just too much.
Strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, again, it's not as if I was addicted by any means, but I mean, as far as oral fixations are concerned, it does help. It does. I mean, it's something that, of course, this doesn't have nicotine in it, so it's it's not covering
So you
the
can
inside
quit
of
at
my
any
windows.
time, right?
So you do have a justification, like it's a means to an end.
Yeah. So I mean, the first vape. The reason why I got this one this week was the last one that I had. I hadn't touched it since probably Christmas or so. But the last one that I had, the battery stopped charging the thing stopped charging the battery. The USB port was fucked, and it fell over in the glass cracked, and it was like leaking and stuff, and it was kind of messy.
That'd
So
be
I'm like,
oily, wouldn't it?
kind of, yeah. So I put it down for a while, and then recently I'm like, I'm a little bit stressed. I find myself chewing on a lot more things than normal, so we'll pick it back up.
One of the things that I'm a huge advocate for, though, is for people who would use vaporizers for marijuana purposes, because smoking would get like 75% of the THC out of it, but when you're inhaling, it's not that marijuana is bad for you.
Marijuana is actually good for you.
Yeah, and it's not that like tobacco is necessarily bad for you. It's that when you inhale the combusted materials of anything, I could go out there and collect a bunch of maple leaves and burn them, and if I inhale that smoke, that's fucking bad for you. It's carcinogens getting into your body. So vaporizing, yes, is safer. So for somebody who's using marijuana, especially for medical purposes, I mean, you're talking about getting rid of the smell. You're talking about getting rid of
the toxins.
the toxins, and you're just inhaling THC. So I mean, if somebody is going to use marijuana, then all for vaping. I mean, we used to do that back.
Well, there's
there
special
was
ones you can get too. That are like, I guess there's a guy at work that has one. I guess he calls it a volcano.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that it's literally just like that, and he says that it's also more efficient. He gets him a lot more high. Of course, this is not for medical purposes.
No, he's
just,
doing it
he's
for
just a
medical
stoner.
purposes, right?
sure. He's totally doing it for medical purposes. So he gets a lot more high. And
You
it's,
also waste a lot more.
No.
Because you can't take in what he's
that's the thing.
pumping out with stuff like that.
He says that he goes through what he was normally going through in a week.
Oh yeah, you go through less weed, but what I'm saying is
You're
like
still wasting
the
more
amount
of it at
that's
a time.
produced out of that. You can't inhale you can't take out like that's for like a party. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
Like when we got a vaporizer way back when I used to do it back in high school, because it was like, all right, we all have long hair, and we were like listening to like this like metal music and stuff, and we already had this negative connotation about us. The last thing we needed was to have our thick long hair ripe with the smell of marijuana and like and smell as bad as we looked. So getting a vaporizer and just
You wanted to clean up your image a little bit.
yes and no. It's there's a stigma that comes with it socially.
Sure.
But anyway, it was like we would just like use the vaporizer, fill up what you need, take what you need.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The problem is where it's so strong, you don't necessarily know what you're taking in.
That's the
Right
thing,
away.
right? I guess this guy that
You just got to know your limits.
this guy that was telling me about the volcano, he said he's like, so I was expecting to have a lot. I didn't know how the vaporizer was going to work, so I put in my normal amount for a night, and I couldn't move my legs.
Well, that's the thing. You're getting 20 to 25% more THC out of it.
Yep.
When using a vaporizer.
Yeah, that as opposed to burning it. Yeah.
Yeah. So like right there, you're already like halving.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I'm okay with this whole vaping craze in some connotations,
Sure.
where it is safer,
Yes.
right? But there's others where like people will go out of their way to buy the biggest piece of equipment. They gotta rip the fattest cloud, man.
I guess, and that's another thing though, is that people are like, oh well, it's just as bad for you as cigarettes, because you can get popcorn lung. Popcorn lung apparently is like where the vape fluid gets basically it hardens and it starts to take up space inside your lungs. But the way that comes about is when you're vaping, if you inhale and you don't exhale, and all the oils basically settle at the bottom of your lungs and eventually end up hardening, and that's bad.
That'll happen with anything, because
Yeah.
any sort of gas that you happen to inhale, if held in long enough, will go back into its liquid or
Yeah.
solid form, and so just give yourself on purpose pneumonia.
Effectively, yeah. That's all it is, yeah. I mean, so that's why people are like, oh, well, this popcorn lung thing is bad. Yeah, no, if you're vaping properly, if you're not being a dumbass and holding it in, yeah, sure. It'll, yeah. That's the thing.
What's proper vaping technique, Alex?
To be honest, I don't know.
Teach us how to
Well,
vape.
in the same way that smoking a cigarette, if you think about it, when you bring it into your lungs, don't hold it. You know what I mean?
Basically,
don't
yeah.
sit there and fight it. It's like, why are you doing
See,
that?
for these things, if you push...
I used to know people would do that with weed because they thought that they would get higher. You got to hold it as much as you can. They're like, oh, if you cough more, it opens things up. It gets in there. It's like all this stoner logic. You know what I mean?
It's like, no, it's
They don't have
bad.
any sweet clue what they're talking
For
about.
these things, if you press and hold the button that electrifies everything, it'll just burn out your coil, and then you taste burnt for the until you change your coil. So basically, as long as you're inhaling as you're holding the button, I guess that's proper vape technique.
Proper vape technique. Inhale it, and then exhale it.
Exhale.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I mean, but at the same, like, my mind always has to go back to the logic that, like, I'm living a perfectly healthy life without inhaling anything but air into my lungs. Why would I?
Not now, because this room's pretty foggy at this point.
Yeah, why would I go out of my way? I think probably my favorite thing that I ever saw online was somebody who was just like, hey, baby, do you believe in love at first sight, or do I gotta rip another fat vape cloud?
Is that how you picked up your girl?
Not at all, no.
Yeah.
No,
She wasn't vaping at the time that happened. Your life got better when you stopped vaping. No, but but I mean,
It
like,
did.
and I, and some of them are like, oh, it smells good, it tastes good. It's like, sweet, go buy some hard candy. You know what I mean? There's, well, this one tastes like cheesecake, and it's like, well, then go get.
You gotta buy a cheesecake.
Yeah, or well, no, I would argue that eating a whole cheesecake is worse for you than vaping a little bit.
I
But
would disagree.
I do want to say one thing about the whole.
better for your soul, though.
I was gonna say it beforehand, I guess, where
I want
everyone's
cheesecake.
like,
Thanks, Mike.
everyone's like, oh well, how do you know if a vapist vapes? Oh, don't worry, they'll tell you, right? The whole thing with vegans is the same thing, except for the reason. Do you know why vegans are always so preachy, or they're always saying, "Oh well, this, that, and the other thing." I'm vegan. Sorry, I can't have that. It's because at parties, if there's like finger food or stuff that's there, it's like, "Hey, you want some finger food?" It's like, "No, thanks, I'm vegan." Say, "Oh well, thanks for telling us you're vegan." Well, of course you asked. Fuck off.
See,
Except all you have to say is no, thank you. You don't have to throw in "I'm vegan."
well, I mean, you can, so they don't offer again.
Exactly that.
But
So you don't.
what,
They don't
what
think
I,
you're being
what I
rude.
find with people who vape is that they're very in your face about it, without using words at all.
What do you mean?
No, what are you talking
I
about?
don't know what you mean.
I do appreciate that, like back in the day, I remember when our friend would start driving and somebody would light a cigarette in there, and it's like, once you have one cigarette in a car, it's never going anywhere. Now, if I pick up a friend who wants to vape,
It's not going to really hurt anything.
I can, well, okay, it doesn't unless the temperature is low and your friend just vapes a whole lot into your back seat, and then when you go to back out of a spot, you turn around and realize you can't see anything because it has just clouded your back window.
Yep.
I take it Alex did this to you?
Yeah, he just kept doing it in the back seat, and I was like, oh, I appreciate that. And then I turned around and I was like, oh, fuck.
That's the thing is that, like, I only tried it in the wintertime, I guess, when it started to get cold, but the nicotine that are in these sticks to the glass of your car, and, like, you try to, like, wipe it away, and it won't. You have to, like, press and hold and then, like, streak it down, and then it'll come off.
Yeah, to wipe it.
It's really bad.
We had no idea, though.
No.
Everything in front of us was fine. It was just behind us. So
Yeah.
Just couldn't see behind.
Even
but that's okay, because you should always be moving forward. Always look ahead. Never look back.
Yeah. Never drive your car backwards.
Yeah.
That's terrible advice.
That's why I have a backup camera in the truck.
So yeah, that's vaping. Living that vape life.
I don't know. Vape Nation.
Vape Nation.
Vape nation.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, there's certain benefits to it, but they're only benefits over other things. It's like, oh well, vaping's healthier than smoking. It's like, yeah, and not doing either is the healthiest.
True.
Because, yeah,
There's no alternative for just not smoking.
there's no alternative for abstinence.
What are you talking
Abstinence doesn't just apply to sex; it applies to vaping.
Yeah. Abstinence
Well, I mean,
is the
doesn't
act
one-
of
doesn't one lead to the
abstaining
other?
from something.
Doesn't one lead to the other? Yeah.
No,
Vaping
vaping is
Contrary to
quite the
popu-
opposite.
Contrary to popular
Vaping does
belief.
not lead to sex.
Yeah, vaping gets all.
It avoids it.
Yeah.
Wait, so that technically is vaping is abstinence.
What flavor of vape juice do you have in that vape? Puss. I want that vape juice that'll give me that puss. And
What's
it's like, well, then leave.
Yeah, stop
What-
vaping.
What does abstinence taste like? I don't know. Let's ask the vape friend.
Okay, let's.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Let's just take a moment to realize that no matter how shitty your life is going, no matter how you feel about yourself, no matter what negative social connotations you have about yourself, no matter how much you're being bullied in school, just remember that there is professional vapers out there. There's people who vape on a professional level
And get money.
in contests. They're sponsored for it. They get money for it. And you, no matter how poor you are, don't need that money because you will never be that much of a piece of shit.
My life is a lie.
I like I saw a video where there was that guy who was doing vape tricks, and he like took it in and he breathes out and he's just like,
Yeah, because he's like super
and
bad
then,
at it.
and then,
It's like,
and then like he
he's-
takes a whole bunch and then he's like and he blows it through his shirt.
He's trying to blow smoke rings like. it's just super
And
bad.
he's like like pushing them. That was my elbow.
Damn. So I mean, yeah, no, I mean, you get a lot of people that are just joking and making fun of.
I guess people can really hop onto any trend. I would liken vaping to the same trend as soaping.
So what?
What's soaping?
It was popular in the 90s. There were these shoes that had plastic bottoms right in the arch of the foot, and you used them to grind on rails. You'd run up and you'd jump on it and slide on the rail. It was like Yeah.
With like soap in them?
No, they were just called soaping. They were called
That's-
soaps. Because skaters used to use, like, if they didn't have wax, they would use soap to, like, rub on a rail so they can grind on it.
Huh.
And this was called soaping. And you just had, like, these plastic sections to your shoe that you would grind on, and it was really lame. But the people who did it thought it was the coolest fucking thing in the world.
That sounds very familiar.
I don't
Is
remember
it?
this at all. Well.
I don't know. Lessons learned?
My lesson learned is it looks like somebody lit a fire in this room right now because it's so foggy.
So vapey.
It's so vapey.
Lessons learned. Stay calm and rip a sick vape cloud, bro.
Wow. Lessons learned. I guess a vape in the hand is worth a dick in the mouth.
Thanks for watching that episode of the Words Are Hard show, guys. Let us know in the comments below if you think that vaping is as pretentious and douchebaggy as we do. As always, we have all our social media links below. We have our Facebook, Instagram, Wikipedia, you know, all the social media links. We're still selling our merchandise down there. Buy something with our face on it. Show the world you love us. Leave us your comments below, I guess, about topics. I keep forgetting to mention that. So leave us some topics, what you want us to do if we pull your topic. If you want to subscribe to us, click on that little box right over there. If you want to watch the previous episode, click on this little box right here. And thanks for watching.